Hey everyone, and welcome! Get ready to level up your knowledge because today we're doing a deep dive on role-playing games.
RPGs, one of my favorite topics. I'm excited to see what you pulled from that Wikipedia article, by the way. Role-playing game.
You know it. We're going to unpack everything, what RPGs are, where they came from, and why they matter.
Sounds like a plan. A lot of people think they know RPGs,
Yeah.
but trust me, there's always something new to discover.
Okay, so before we go full-on Dungeon Master on this, let's start with the basics. What exactly is an RPG?
So at their core, RPGs are all about interactive storytelling. You create a character, you step into their shoes, and you influence the narrative through the decisions you make.
It's like you're not just reading a book, you're in the book, making choices that actually change how the story unfolds.
Exactly. It's a choose-your-own-adventure, but on a whole other level. And here's the thing that might surprise some people. RPGs aren't just digital.
Oh yeah, tabletop RPGs, like the classic Dungeons and Dragons, right? Where it all began.
Exactly. Before we had fancy graphics and online worlds, it was all about imagination and face-to-face interaction, gathering around a table with friends, rolling dice, real human connection.
I bet those were some epic game nights. But how did we get from, like, war games with maps and little figurines to slaying dragons and casting spells?
It's a fascinating evolution. You can trace it back to those early war games, actually. Like there was this Prussian game, Kriegspiel, that was all about military strategy. Super complex, tons of rules, used miniatures to simulate battles.
Wow, that's hardcore. Sounds more like a history lesson than a game night. So how did that morph into fantasy RPGs?
Well, those war games, as niche as they were, kind of laid the groundwork. They introduced the idea of simulating situations within a set of rules, making decisions that had consequences in a fictional setting.
Ah, so it's like they planted the seeds for imaginative, interactive play.
Exactly. And then in 1974, those seeds blossomed into something truly revolutionary, Dungeons and Dragons. It was a total game changer. Suddenly, you weren't just recreating historical battles, you were creating your own heroes, fighting mythical creatures, going on epic quests. It just captured people's imaginations.
I can see why. It's funny how something that started as this kind of niche hobby could spark such a cultural phenomenon.
Right. And for a while there, RPGs, especially the tabletop kind, weren't exactly considered, cool.
Yeah, a little sneaky, maybe.
A bit. Definitely a subculture for those who embrace their love of fantasy and imagination. But then something interesting happened. RPGs started gaining wider acceptance, even mainstream popularity.
Okay, now I gotta know, what changed? Why did RPGs suddenly become cool?
Well, there are a few things at play here, but I think a big part of it was that people started recognizing the inherent value of RPGs beyond just entertainment. They started to see how these games could actually be beneficial for personal and social development. And that's where things get really interesting.
Personal and social development. Okay, now you're really speaking my language. Tell me more.
Right. It's like, think about it. RPGs, they encourage collaboration, strategic thinking, problem solving, and creativity. Oh my gosh, so much creativity. These are skills that are super valuable in all aspects of life, but especially in today's world, right? Everything's changing so fast.
Absolutely. It's like you're sneaking in some serious brain training while you're battling orcs and whatnot. Okay, but let's break it down a little bit. What are some of the key elements of RPGs, the things that make them so unique that actually contribute to these benefits?
Well, character creation is huge. It's not just like picking a cool name and a costume. It's really diving deep. Stats, skills, background, motivations. You're essentially creating a whole persona that exists within this fictional world.
It's like you're not just playing the game, you're crafting a character with a history, a personality, like a whole purpose, right? That's amazing. And it makes me wonder, how much does the game master influence all of this?
Oh, the game master is absolutely crucial. I mean, they're the storyteller, the referee, the architect of the whole world you're playing in. They set the stage, they introduce the challenges, and then they guide the narrative based on the actions that the players take. It's a lot of responsibility.
It sounds like it. I bet it's a really delicate balance between having a plan but also being able to think on your feet and adapt, like directing improv but in real time. What about chance, though? Where do the dice come in?
Ah, the dice. Yeah, they introduce that element of unpredictability, right?
Yeah.
Like a reminder that no matter how well you plan, sometimes things just go sideways, which makes it exciting.
Keeps everybody on their toes. And I bet it makes for some pretty hilarious moments when, like, a critical role goes horribly wrong or even surprisingly right. Just adds to the whole storytelling dynamic.
Totally. It's all part of the collaborative narrative experience. Because ultimately, RPGs are about more than just winning or losing, It's about the journey, the shared experience, the stories that you create together as a group.
That actually reminds me of something I found really interesting in that Wikipedia article. I talked about how there are all these different types of RPGs, not just tabletop. Like it mentioned digital RPGs, both single player and then massively multiplayer online RPGs,
Hmm.
those MMORPGs. Is there a big difference between like playing those and actually gathering around a table with friends?
They both offer really unique experiences, but they both stay true to those core elements of what makes an RPG an RPG.
Yeah.
So tabletop RPGs, they're all about that face-to-face interaction, right? Shared imagination, the tactile experience of rolling the dice.
Yeah, like the original unplugged gaming experience. What
Yeah.
about digital RPGs then? What are some of the key differences there?
Well, I mean, digital RPGs, they can really leverage technology to create these incredibly immersive worlds, with stunning visuals, amazing soundtracks. They can offer a more solitary experience, like getting lost in a sprawling single-player epic. Or they can connect you with thousands of other players in these vast online worlds.
Right. It's like choosing your own adventure, but with incredible graphics. Plus, that Wikipedia article called out some iconic video game RPGs, Final Fantasy, The Elder Scrolls, World of Warcraft. I mean, these games have had a huge impact on pop culture. But it does make you wonder, with all these variations, what is it that ties them all together? What makes an RPG no matter what the format?
That's a great question, and it really brings us back to those core elements we've been talking about, right?
Yeah.
It's the character creation, the decision-making, that collaborative storytelling aspect, the element of chance, and then that sense of agency that you have within a fictional world.
So whether you're huddled over a table with friends or you're exploring some vast digital landscape, it's about stepping outside yourself into another world, another life, another story.
Exactly. And that experience can be incredibly powerful, and not just for entertainment, but for personal growth as well.
Okay, see, now you're speaking my language. We've touched on the benefits, but I want to really dive into that. Why should people care about this? What can they gain from exploring the world of RPGs?
Well, that Wikipedia article highlighted some really compelling benefits.
Mm-hmm.
Socialization, creativity, problem solving, and then exploring different perspectives.
Yeah.
It's kind of amazing how much these games can nurture.
Okay, yes, that's what I'm talking about. Let's unpack those benefits. Give me the good stuff. Lay it on me. What's so great about RPGs?
All right, so first up, socialization,
Okay, yeah. Makes sense.
especially with tabletop RPGs, right? You're getting together with friends, working towards a common goal, facing challenges as a team. It's a great way to bond with people who share your interests.
It's like building those connections, those relationships organically while you're off on a quest to defeat some evil wizard or something.
Exactly. You're relying on each other, you're supporting each other, celebrating each other's successes. It creates this real sense of camaraderie, a shared purpose. And the cool thing is, those bonds, they often extend beyond the game itself. You make friends, you build this sense of community.
That's awesome. It's like RPGs can be a gateway to a whole new group of friends. All right, what else? What about creativity?
Oh, RPGs are a creativity goldmine. They really force you to think outside the box, to come up with unique solutions to problems, because there's no one right answer, right? And it's collaborative, so you're constantly bouncing ideas off each other, sparking new possibilities.
It's not just following a set path. It's like creating your own path as you go, which I guess ties into the whole problem-solving aspect too, right?
100%.
Yeah.
RPGs are constantly throwing curveballs at you, so you have to think on your feet. You have to adapt to new situations and come up with solutions that you might not have expected. You can't just brute force your way through every challenge. It takes strategy, resourcefulness.
Like real life problem solving, but way more fun. Instead of a work deadline, it's like a dungeon full of traps. Okay, last but not least, that article talked about exploring different perspectives, which seemed like a really interesting benefit.
Yeah, it can be really powerful. Because when you step into the shoes of a character who's totally different from you, I mean, different background, different personality, maybe they're even a different species, you start to see the world through their eyes. You understand their motivations, their challenges in a whole new way.
Wow. Yeah, that's something you don't really get from most other forms of entertainment. You're not just watching a character, you're becoming that character, experiencing the world from their point of view.
Exactly.
That's got to be transformative.
It can be. And honestly, I think in today's world, having that kind of empathy and understanding, that's more important than ever.
100% agree. This whole deep dive has been amazing. We've covered so much ground, the history of RPGs, how they work, and now all these incredible benefits they offer. I feel like I've gained a whole new appreciation for RPGs.
It's pretty incredible when you think about it. It
Yeah.
really speaks to the power of imagination, of storytelling, of that basic human need to connect with others and go on adventures, even if they're fictional.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So, to anyone listening who's feeling even a little bit curious about RPGs, I say go for it. Explore, try new things, find your people. You never know what amazing experiences are out there waiting for you.